Hello, Sasha here. We're going to be looking at the finals of a Pokepod Cup between Melvin and Tatanka. Last week there was also a finals between Melvin and Tatanka, which are best of fives. And both of them have been extremely interesting. Well, the last one was more interesting, but this one's also interesting, and I feel like making a video, so I'll do the video on this one. So, last week, Melvin pretty much beat Tatanka with Badger Fox, which is interesting. Melvin has played Badger Fox. He's played it sparingly for a while, but he started bringing it back recently. And I myself have, I'm not trying to brag, but I thought of Badger Fox, or at least I mentioned it in Discord before Melvin started using it. Not that I'm saying he used it because he saw me post about it or even knew I posted about it, but I was aware of that idea. So anyway, it's a pretty solid combo since they kind of counter everything in the game almost, but it's obviously not perfect. Very low HP, very low damage at first, which are both really problematic for actually having an army that can stand and fight, especially when you're throwing pigeons in there. And it's always more problematic to get out 2 tier 3 than 1 tier 3. But it's a really solid combo, and I actually beat Tatanka myself with it in an unranked game. So both sides have 3 mills pretty much. This campfire in the middle doesn't matter. Ferrets can easily kill it from either side. Now, at first glance, Tatanka's army in mass crushes Melvinfro's army. Because it's going to be Skrills and Falcons, Badger, Fox. Badger takes 5 seconds to rev up, so it's not doing damage. The Fox is probably going to be like one-shotting Skrills, and so it's also not going to be doing damage for like the first however many seconds, so he's just not going to get all the value. So we have Skrills and Falcons and Pigeons. Pigeons aren't going to be doing anything. Against Wolf Buff, Falcon, Cam, Skrill. Like, Melvinfro's army just gets completely shredded and chased down. But the thing is, this is 3 mil versus 3 mil. This is a starve game. And when you can defend with Badger and Fox, that's really good. Because when there's a mill in the way, when you have terrain to your advantage, you get that extra time and safety for your Badger to rev up. And when those Badgers do get revved up, it's going to be hell for the other army. Because when you're fighting Badgers, you want all the Badger's support to be killed off or at least most of it to be killed off by the time the Badger fully revs up. But if you can't do that, or if you lost too much of your own stuff, the Badger just kind of starts killing you. And it's also just hard to focus around mills and around warns and all that with Falcons. So I want to point out, and I'm saying DPS is really good against Badger. It's also kind of good against Fox armies too, because you kill the Fox support. The Fox can kite well. Well, not against Wolf though. Wolf will just chase it down. So is Cam good against Badger because it has DPS? It's a very, very complicated answer because essentially it helps do what I was saying. You can kill off all the Badger support. But Cams are in the front. So while the Badger's running away out of range of the other side's Falcons, guess what will be in range? The Cams. So in exchange for killing the Badger army, you'll be giving the Badger a really easy rev up with the Cams. And that's, again, it might not matter. If you have like a Boar Cam Falcon and Wolf Cam Falcon and you just steamroll the Badger army, then kill the Badger, that's not a problem. But if you don't kill enough of the Badger army, then the Badger just gets revved up on your Cams. It's really bad all of a sudden. You have a fully revved up Badger about to start killing all your stuff. Plus a Fox in it too. Yeah, so it's looking like a starve game. This mill is just far away enough from the cliff, you don't have to worry about ferrets. Plus, Wolf could probably just start a base race too. If Melvin was trying to do ferrets over the cliff or something. We shall see what happens. Both sides going mass grills because there's no AoE. Now, so we have a starve game, and here's the thing: when it's a starve game, you either you can save a bunch of star farms, but the problem is, it's what Tatanka is doing. If the other person is fully farms up, like 5 farms or 4 more farms is 4 times 300. That's how much food a farm gives. Is 1200. Each pig is 60. So you pretty much get like if Tatanka has 1,000 more food, that's a really big deal. So what you do here is you scout in this sort of situation, and you always have just one more free farm than the opponent, generally speaking. So in this case, Melvin really wants to build 3 more farms and save a last farm as a starvation farm. Because this is a lot of food, and this is going to be a lot more units for Tatanka that's going to be coming out. Now, I'm going to criticize Tatanka here. Has a huge economy. He really should be getting at least 1 more wolf to have maximum wolf buff. Plus, 2 wolves will buff each other, and they'll be very safe since they can both run away. At least they'll usually be buffing each other. So your wolves also have very high survivability compared to this 1 wolf. And there's so many units, like those buffs will spread out anyway. People talk about wolf buff overlap, but I haven't really seen it a whole lot. Like, usually the buffs do a really good job of not overlapping, so it's definitely worth to get a second wolf here. Yeah, Mass Falcon's definitely a good call. Melvin's not even bothering with the ferrets because he knows he's the one defending. Badgers, 2 fox. Honestly, in this kind of situation, I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to. You definitely don't want more than 2 foxes. And besides that, just get Mass Badgers. Honestly, I would make the case for this 1 fox too. Because foxes are not going to be doing a whole lot when the fight first starts. You need foxes after the fight for the follow-up, where you just mop everything up. Like all the falcons when all the tier 1 are dead and all that. Killing the wolf even. Because foxes aren't going to do anything when the meat of the fight, or meat of the fighting is happening. As you can see, Tatanka has a lot more skills and a lot more falcons, but Melvinfro is defending for a choke point on high ground. Not that high ground matters a ton here, it's just awkward for Tatanka to march through. Now the problem is, well, I guess it's not really a problem, but... Also, putting on these warrens really this far forward was a huge mistake on Melvin's part, because this is really the most obvious advanced path for Tatanka. He's either going to go this way or this way, so you want all your warrens in the back as much as possible. That might seem minor, but when a fight happens, and you can sell off warrens for like 500 extra food, but instead they're all just going to die here. And warren tanking is not really a thing here. Like, warren tanking is not going to be worth it. So it's not going to make the fight go in your favor. The falcon count is getting higher. Although, Melvin really needs more skrills. Like, he's defending in his terrain. Tatanka has to attack this. Like, skrills are just more HP and more firepower compared to the falcons, cost per cost. Plus, skrills will rebuild during the fight. This many pigeons is also really bad. Like, if I'm not fighting snakes, or generally 3 to 6 pigeons per badger is what you want. If you're not fighting snakes or maybe some other comps, it really depends. But you want more DPS here as Melvinfro. The pigeons aren't worth it, because pigeons are 20 food for 3 health and 1 DPS of healing. When you could have, for 20 food, 8 health and 2 DPS in the form of a skrill. Or get a falcon in it. Yeah, fox staggered shots are really good. And it starts. Back, really nice, really nice. But look at this, the ferrets are killing so many warrens. Like, this is insane. That tier 3 warren, these tier 2 warrens, these should have been back here. Should have been over here. Like, Melvin lost hundreds and hundreds of value. So otherwise, pretty even fight. And this is really good since Tatanka's basically out of eco at this point. Like, he's gonna run out. What should have happened is at least most of those warrens should have stayed alive, if not all of them, because you put them here, here, and here. And if they stay alive, Melvinfro just sells down and he has plenty of army left. But he lost all that value now. Okay, this is really problematic. These foxes should be killing all these falcons right now, but they're not, and I don't know what's going on. I mean, I understand it's a very stressful situation, but he could have got so many more falcon kills there. Look, Melvin's not rebuilding any falcons. Like, he should have at least sold into something here. Like, this is too late. The wolf's already going to be up. The wolf's going to buff all this? There's no meat. The tank and fight while the badger is revving up and while the foxes are getting value. Like, Melvin should have won this game. I mean, should have is a very unfortunate phrase to say that lots of people like to say, but all these warren sign was just so, like, it was not. Okay, okay, I'm not gonna forgive losing a fox to a fair right there. That's not forgivable. And I can forgive the micro because everyone makes micro mistakes, but I cannot forgive the warren losses. It was just completely unnecessary. And that's something very important to think about. People don't tend to think about it a whole lot because it doesn't come into mind. But there's so many games that end up being decided by warrens, by losing too many warrens, and you can't rebuild enough compared to the opponent. Also, Melvinfro should have sold a lot of these falcons and went into the skrills because, again, skrills are just much better for the stats. I don't know if it would have been enough, but it would have been fought a lot more effectively. Honestly, I am tempted to say it would have been enough. So that fight still really went well. And a couple extra seconds for the badger to get revved up and a fox do damage are going to be huge. So game 1 goes to Tatanka. Number 2, same. Okay, so Melvin drops the ferret for balloon, which is weird. I mean, I guess Tatanka's army can't technically break a balloon wall. Because balloon walls are like actually just one of the strongest things in the game. Really, the only thing that can break it is the owl. While the wolf can kind of deal... wolf has more of an edge than other units. It's less worse against balloon walls, and sometimes you're going to split the balloon player. While the balloon wall is getting up, then there's not enough balloons, or there's not enough army protecting the balloons, and you just have wolf buff units just overrun it. But balloon walls are really situational, really expensive, and really difficult to get up. Really relying on map gen and the circumstances of the match in order to make balloons work. Yes, Tatanka has ferrets, but getting a balloon because you want to deal with ferrets is like super woke. I mean, it's not super woke, but you can deal with ferrets with micro. Like, just dance with the ferrets. Or if the map's too big for the opponent to do ferret siege. Or, you know, the enemy's going ferrets in the army, so you just kill them because you have better units. Like, I'd much rather have, like, a skunk or something. Like, there's a lot of other units I would rather have them at. Like, I'd rather focus on winning the fight against a ferret player by having a unit in my deck that I can use than having a balloon generally. So that's why I'm assuming Melvin is taking the balloon. Primarily to look for a balloon wall. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just my personal thoughts on balloons and ferrets. I mean, it's better than taking ferrets. I'll say that much. Nice campfire for Tatanka. Just a little bit extra food. Melvinfro's just farming up. Tatanka's looking to push, but it's not going to work. Cam's going down. So yeah, hopefully Melvin, yeah, Melvin's gonna see the cam. And what you want to do here is Melvin, I guess tech tier 2. Get like a Falcon, but then also build a ton of farms. And by a ton, I mean, yeah, 2 is a really good amount, safe, but also sufficiently greedy. But in the meantime, Tatanka's starting to set up an MG wall and just cut the map in his favor, which is really problematic. And it's not problematic because as so much as from a siege perspective, like it's not because Melvinfro is gonna die to fairs, it's because he can't break out of this easily at least. And now I know the outcome of this series, or of this match. I know the outcome of the series too, but I know the outcome of this match. But I was actually alt-tabbed at the end of this match. So I'm really, and it went the way I didn't think it was going to go. So I'm really interested to see that. Getting lots of farming, this is really good. That's another thing, when a player is going structures like this, just farm up to 8 farms on the second mill as fast as possible. Build up a big army and do a timing push and try to break them, just brute force. Now, MGs are really, really, really interesting for a lot of reasons, but MGs do have disadvantages, in fact. MGs are tile blockers. Your own units cannot go where an MG is. MGs create a choke point for your army, which can be really problematic. Because your units can have a lot of trouble going from behind the MGs to in front of the MGs. And I don't know how this is going to play out in terms of army, but let's say there's a badger revving up. What are you going to do? Force all your skills to go for like this one tile choke point right here? Or like there's falcons killing the MGs? It can get really annoying. It's also not good for camps since they need to move around it, and this choke point's no bueno. No good. I have a balloon going down here, which... I mean, a Pharaoh could... I mean, these pigs are about to starve out anyway, or fallow, but balloon's kind of whatever. I really don't like the balloons here. Maybe 1, just to not have to deal with ferret harass shooting the mill and warrens, but 2 is really overkill. But he is going Fox Badger here. Now, honestly, well, I don't know, Fox is good because it has so much range, you can shoot units behind the MGs, and Badger's actually pretty decent against MGs if you're microing right, because the Badger can get revved up on the MGs. And MGs obviously can't move forward, and if there's a bunch of MGs in the way, that enemy army also can't, or it's going to have a lot of trouble moving forward to stop your Badger. So your Badger can start getting a rev up. Our Falcons, again, really nice. Masked Falcon can also kind of deal with MG. Because, like, if you have 10 Falcons, you can just, like, insta-snipe an MG at the corner and keep on doing that. Or just if you have mass Falcons, you can just burst down the MGs at the edge fast and just keep on moving for the MG wall like that. Like, approach from, like... I mean, this is really awkward angle. You kind of have to go from the front, but maybe go around this way, kill this MG, this one, and that one, so forth. Please don't lose the Fox. Yeah, this is a little bit of nice value. Here we go. Again, I don't like this many pigeons. I'm not gonna say it's too many here though. So yeah, again, this is what's happening. The Badger is getting revved up on the MG. The army is being forced through a choke point. Unfortunately, Melvinfro doesn't have like skunks or anything or a board to brutalize Tatanka for this, but it's still really bad for Tatanka's army. But the important thing is the Badger's already spent a second or 2 revving up, and that's huge. Like, this is so awkward. Didn't the cams have to run around the mill? Like the Thrills spend so much time moving there. The Badger's fully revved up. Like, this is just a disaster. And the Wolf is building already. Well, the Wolf is building. It's not out, is my point. And yeah, it's just a disaster for Tatanka. Like, he needed a lot more Falcons. He should have got... He shouldn't have added any cams, honestly. I'd say this was too greedy. I don't know when the Wolf went down. I wasn't paying attention. But the Wolf should not have come after this mill. Like, in that sort of situation, you want your Wolf to come out probably when enemy tier 3 is coming out. Or at least have a lot of Falcons behind the MG wall there. Okay, I guess the game desynced, but yeah, this is an obvious loss for Tatanka. He surrendered. Game number 3. Wow, both players going Badger Fox Balloon, but over here we have Skrill Pigeon Falcon, Tatanka going Skrill Falcon Cam. Pigeonless Badger, can you do that? I've said a lot of times, Pigeonless Badger. I've even run Pigeonless Badger before. I don't do it often. In this patch, I haven't really tested a whole lot. I need to think more about it. But in this situation, when you think about it, like if the other person has 12 pigeons and you have 4 more falcons or 12 more skrills, I mean, you're gonna win the fight, and that's just it. You don't need the pigeons. And I also want to point, in Badger versus Badger, I'd usually just take 3 pigeons for Badger. There's a lot of situations, again, if I'm not fighting snakes or something else like that, I just take 3 pigeons for Badger. At most 6 sometimes. I almost never take 9 pigeons per Badger. Or more. I pretty much never take, yeah, more than 9 pigeons per Badger. Very niche situations where I would do that. Like, if you're not fighting snakes, you really don't need 9 pigeons. Just get more damage. There's a ton of road on this map. And road's really good for Badger. Not that it matters, I mean, what players have Badger here, but a lot of things, something players don't tend to think about is how Badger moves fast. Well, Badger, like most all ground units, moves faster on road. So Badger on road is really hard to both catch up and kill, and it's also really hard to run away from. This Badger on road is pretty beastly. Both players taking a mill. Now, I'm not a huge fan of what Melvin's doing here. Because, well, let's just... Also, Tatanka's been taking forward farms a lot. I mean, it's 18 HP and 1 DPS, so they'll help fight off an early attack, but... Well, I guess he's only going to take it in certain situations. Like, if you're fighting Mass Lizard, you're not going to be taking... If you're fighting Mass Lizard and you have skills, you're obviously not going to be putting farms in front of the mill, but... Pretty interesting that he's been doing this. It's whatever. Probably worth thinking about taking comps like Squizzard or Skrill, or looking for pushes so to have a window to just kill them if the pigs are up. So far, just Skrills and farms. I have something I want to talk about, but I'm waiting until we get to a certain point in the match. Then we have a Foxhorn. And this is really bad. And at the same time, to talk about knowing puts down the balloon. This is so bad because Melvinfro doesn't know Tatanka has balloons. But there's a couple things. He's seen MGs the previous 2 games, so he can assume Tatanka has MG. Or maybe some sort of other structure. And this is a great contained map. So you do not want to be giving a window for the enemy to get their wall up. Like, Fox doesn't work against MGs. It also doesn't work against Sniper Balloon. So, Melvinfro's just going to get walled in here. And the other thing, Melvinfro has a cabin on his side of the map. I would take, like, he should have taken the cabin, because again, he doesn't want a wall to get up. So just focus on spamming skrills, take the cabin for a little bit of eco, and just have that extra eco. And only build like a mill in farms, and Tatanka puts farms on his mill. Only put down a tier 3 when you see your opponent putting down tech. You don't want to give Tatanka the opportunity to put up a contain here. It's just way too bad. And it would have been so much better for Melvin if he took a cabin instead of going straight into a mill. This balloon's not going to do anything. I mean, this is just a losing situation for Melvin in terms of a balloon, because he'll just get starved out. Badger coming down. And I can see a Fox against MG with Badger, but if you're fighting Balloon, just go with Devil Badger. Because at least if the Badgers get revved up, you'll pretty much like insta-kill the Balloons. And maybe you'll be able to break the wall. Yeah, I mean, Tatanka's on 8 farms now. This is just a disaster. Honestly, another thing you could have done, if you're worried about you could take this mill actually. Still go campfire first in my opinion, but maybe you take this mill because it's gonna be you can't get structures up on a low ground easily. Well, I guess either way it's hard to get structures up on this low ground because you obviously can't put them on the high ground right here because there's farms in the way. Melvin should have been. You should have prepared for the possibility that Tatanka might have structures he might put down to contain him, and he just didn't do that. Oh, wait too. Pigeons aren't gonna do anything when there's sniper balloons on the table. And honestly, you want some falcons because skrills have real trouble like concentrating their damage, and they don't have as much burst damage as falcons. So if you at least have like 2 falcons here, you can do an easier job of getting rid of balloons. Like, I don't know what, like, see, it's kind of going well, but imagine if he just had 12 more skrills here. Like, it's 7 skrills. Tatanka only has 4 skrills left, and then he has a fox and 4 balloons. That's it. If Melvinfro had 12 more skrills, he would have crushed this fight. Instead, he's taking pigeons against sniper balloons and fox. Those are, like, single-shot units, especially when there's a million of them. Like, why are you taking pigeons? Like, these pigeons are doing literally nothing. All of this could be dead right now. Like, holy shit. Another thing you could have tried is mass skrill fox. And what you like, Tatanka would see it coming because of balloon vision, or at least he would see the fox going around, but maybe it's still worth a shot. You run the fox all the way to the back of the map, and while Tatanka splits off his skrills, because he only has skrills out before he has his own fox, well, he has to send his skrills or all his pigs start getting killed by the fox, or even Tatanka's own fox can get spawn camped by Melvin's fox. But whenever Tatanka moves his skrills, when the fox is back here and he's going to chase it, you rally all your skrills and you just clean up the balloon wall. Maybe even kill the mill, at least kill a bunch of pigs. So yeah, this is... Melvin did not play this right. It's a difficult situation, but the two options I just said, skrills instead of pigeons, and honestly probably double badger instead of fox, or maybe like some falcons or whatever, but yeah, definitely no pigeons, that's bad. Or try the thing where you go around the fox and do a like split attack with skrills at the front, fox in the back. But yeah, the game's over, so we're just gonna fast forward. Since Tatanka has a ton more eco, and that's really starting to kick in. Yeah. Yep. You just kill a fox though, which is nice, but I mean, it's too late for that to matter. Okay, I mean... This is still... Well, let me think, actually. Let's count the Warrens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so... Tatanka, I mean, Melvinfro has hundreds more foods and Warrens. See, okay, well, yeah, Melvinfro lost the Fox, which is horrendous, unfortunately. Because did he scout the back path? Because he can actually kite through here. So he could have kept on kiting, and then he has more to sell off. Well, he just kites and gets so much value. Actually, now that I think this is... Melvin can still win from this position. Because Tatanka puts so much of his extra eco into, like, this third mill, which just died. So you keep the fox alive. And then maybe the fox shoots the cam, or maybe the cam gets seen by the skrills, and then you kill the cam, then you just start killing these skrills. with kiting and a fox. And then you just have 100 more food and warrants you can sell off compared to Tatanka. Like 50% more in warrants even. Just about, yeah. I mean, Tatanka has 3 balloons, but if you sell these 3 balloons, there's going to be a window. And we have to remember that... Well, I guess Tatanka has his own fox building too. I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's still... Melvin still could have potentially won this match, even this late in the game. As long as he didn't lose the fox. But he did lose the fox, so... Yeah, trying to... Yeah, I mean, losing a fox is way too bad. They need disruptors. And Melvinfro taking more. Oh yeah, this is gonna be kind of anticlimactic. Pretty annoying map for Melvinfro. Because these mills are definitely easier for Tatanka to access. Like, he can just rotate his army around his high ground, and it's just really annoying. Like, Melvinfro has to go through water to get over here. Yeah, it's just not gonna work well. Now, it's really hard to call this, but 7 skrills beats 6 skrills is Shumicro. I mean, he is going through water, actually, so maybe not there, now that I think about it. Water's really going to slow down skrill movement in the time they fire. Since their first shots can be delayed while they're moving through the water tiles. But right, for a second, it was 8 skrills versus 6 skrills, and you can't really realistically see that window. You can make a guess that that window might exist, but you can't really be sure about it. Yeah, this is really nice. We have skrill pressure to get the wolves up. And 4 warns. Like, both players have equal skrill count, except Melvin has 4 moles. And then he throws the game. Because, like, this is when you push. Like, Tatanka is going to have 12 skrills versus your 10 skrills and 4 moles. And you just win. But Melvinfro delays for no reason. Because now Tatanka sees this. So look what he does. He just starts putting up a 10 more skrill warrants, and these warrants start producing units. Like, what is this? You should have already started pushing. This is so bad. Because you have to remember, the more you delay your own push when it's been scouted, that's the more time for an enemy to build units. Or even if they haven't scouted you, that's more time for the enemy to build your own units anyway. Because they're going to be building units unless you're playing super greedy. That's more time for them to get their tech units out, even though in this case there isn't any tier 2 or tier 3 building, just tier 1. And now it's still such a massive difference that Melvin's gonna push, but he still messes up. Like, he needs to be focusing these skrills. These skrills need to die. They need to die. There's 3 skrills. They're doing so much damage. Instead he's going for the warrants, this makes 0 sense. This makes absolutely 0 sense. Go pick off these 2 skrills. Go kill these 3 pigs. If you have enough, then maybe keep pushing. But I mean, the bull warrants are losing value, so just kill these 3 pigs. Make sure you're killing the spawning skrills up here. Then back off, because then it's 2 pigs versus 2 pigs. Except Tatanka's lost at least 1 warren. He's lost pigs. And he doesn't have nearly as much value left. Like, you just come out ahead. Like this is so bad. This is so bad. And now here's the part. Melvinfro has to sell these mole warrants since we're way too close to the front. And Tatanka has so many units built now since Melvin overextended and didn't focus fire to spawning reinforcements. So Tatanka has a ton of units that are built now. Melvinfro has to go back and try to build warrants, but it's too late. Tatanka's just counterattacking. But like, it's just over. like, even with how delayed Melvin's mole push was, like, he still could have got value. But he just messed it up. And Tatanka wins the finals 3-1 in this Pocket Ball Cup. Oh, and the replay desynced for some reason. I don't know why this happens. Quite annoying. I mean, if you run it out, eventually Melvin would starve, so. Anyway, that is the end of this video.